Fakty neprestávajú existovať tým, že sa o nich nesmie hovoriť. Pravda je dcérou času. Televízia ZVTV.
Milí televízni diváci, vítam vás v ďalšom vydaní dialogov z ZVTV. Dnešným špeciálnym hostom je pani veľvyslankyňa Palestínskeho štátu, pani Kchaldí.
Thank you very much for hosting me here today, and unfortunately we are here together in this painful moment for the Palestinian people, but it is time to talk to the Slovaki audience about the problem of Palestine and what's going on, and it's my duty to try to reach the Slovaki audience and maybe can answer some of their questions or enlighten them about the situation in Palestine.
Okay, let me express my deepest condolence to you for the deaths of the Palestinian people. And now we can begin. What is happening in Palestine right now?
Right now, I just in the way to meeting you and having this conversation. Actually, there was another new massacre happened. The Israeli airstrike and bombed a school.
After the hospital? After?
Yes.
Oh.
Just I think an hour ago, almost an hour ago, a hospital. It was a Norway hospital. It was a UN hospital. I mean school. The situation cannot be continued. This is a big violation of international law. I'm through your program. I'm speaking to the conscience of the Slovaki people and for the politicians here to look to the whole picture. Yesterday we had this tragic accident and attack that happened to many Palestinians in Gaza, including the last night brutal and aggressive and unhuman attack and striking the hospital of Al Ahli. This was a hospital is hosting a lot of children and women. The Gazis or the population in Gaza, most of them are civilians. 2 million civilians living in Gaza. Gaza size is almost the size of Bratislava. So when you are talking, I want you as a Slovaki person imagine the size of Gaza. Yeah. When the Israelis attack this aggressive attack on against the Palestinian people in Gaza, and ask them to evacuate from north to south and then from south to the middle of Gaza, what happened the last week, you can imagine the situation. There is no shelters there's no asylum, there's no shelters for the civilian to hide from such attacks or bombing or whatever. This is not the first aggression attack from the Israeli military against the population in Gaza, civilian in Gaza. Since the siege of Gaza, it has happened since almost 16 years ago. Every almost 2 years, the Israeli military army is attacking the Gazis in Gaza, the population, the civilian population. The Palestinian people is under this occupation, and this measurement and brutal measurements happened from the Israelis governments one after another since 75 years. Since 75 years, this conflict started since 75 years, with no recognition and continuous not recognition of the Palestinian rights of self-determination from the Israeli side. Yeah. The Palestinian Liberation Organization since 30 years ago has, which is the legitimate representative and the only representative of the Palestinian people, which has been recognized by Slovakia and other countries in the international community, and actually all the agreements was signed from the Palestinian part to with other international parties. It was signed by the name of the Palestinian Liberation Organization. But unfortunately, we have choose since 30 years ago to have to start a peaceful negotiation, and we still holding of this political solution to the conflict with the Israelis. But for 30 years, what happened? From us, we were, from our side, we have committed to the agreements. We have established a lot of contact and communication, and a lot of effort had been done by a lot of Palestinian officials and NGOs also, and civil society in Palestine, actually very willing to live a good life in dignity and in peaceful means. But what happened in these 30 years that there is a lot of problems happened. A lot of problems happened to the Palestinians. First of all, the Israeli government, one after another, not only the last one, but the last one is the most brutal one. Yeah. They have a lot of.
So, by the way, how many died until today, for example?
I can say the numbers for now. From 7 of October till today, it's around 3,478 murders. Yes, have been killed. Civilians have been killed by the Israeli occupation forces, and we have 1,030 missing under the rebels, and we don't. This is numbers coming out of the Ministry of Health of the State of Palestine. We have out of the 3,478, we have 700 to 900 children have been killed by the occupation. Yeah, by the occupation military forces. We have. Out of them also, out of 3,478, we have 1,000 women have been killed. All of these are Mertens for want to have. They are innocent. They want to have better life. They deserve a better life, not to be under occupation for more than 75. For generation now in Palestine. There is some generation in Gaza. They didn't even have the ability or the opportunity to see anything beyond Gaza. Yeah. They are under siege. You can imagine as a Slovakian citizen to be in Bratislava and to be stuck here for 16 years. You cannot move. You cannot travel. You cannot dream. You cannot dream. You cannot. And by the way, most of the population in Gaza City or in the Gaza Strip as a whole is mostly half of them are children and youth. So you can imagine the amount of frustration of the people. In addition to the West Bank is not better. We have in the West Bank. I want to tell you that in the West Bank we have a lot of problems because of the unilateral measurements that had been taken by the Israeli occupation authorities. This had been taken after we agreed since 1993 with the Oslo agreement that we should have a negotiation talked until we reach, a recognition of Palestinian state from the Israeli side. But what happened is the opposite. We started to have the refugee problem that I want to mention here, that they are denying of our return. The right of return is confirmed by the Human Rights Declaration, by the international law, and by the international humanitarian law. We have 7 million Palestinian refugee, registered by the United Nations. Registered by the United Nations. 70% of this amount of 7 million are inhabited in Gaza. In Gaza. You can imagine how the people in the Gaza Strip...
4 to 5 million?
Yes. We are talking about this struggle, this conflict, as I said, it started like decades ago. It's not something happened starting from 7th of October. It's something happened even before. The second problem, which is happening also and related to the conflict, and it had to be, as I said, you have to see the whole picture. In the West Bank, we have a problem of the settlements, and we have dozens of resolutions have been sent out. I'm talking about the most important resolution, or the Security Council resolution 2334. This one, 2334. This one resolution has been addressing the issue of the settlement and building settlement, and it addressed that this is illegal and it should be stopped in the West Bank territories, in the Palestinian occupied territories, that Israel has no right to do that. It's clearly had been said from the Security Council. But with all of this, Israel continue and aggressively, especially with this current government, aggressively, they took a lot of measurements to give a permission to the settlements in the West Bank to continue and to be built in huge units. In the same time, this occupation authorities, it doesn't allow for the Palestinians to naturally expand or to have permission to build in the same areas. We are talking, actually, the occupation, maybe the Slovakia audience doesn't know that the West Bank, which is also not so much bigger than Gaza Strip, it's divided into 3. The occupation authorities had defined it into 3 areas A, B, C, and we are not allowed. The C is actually the majority of the size of the lands of the West Bank. Yeah. And this land, actually, the Palestinian government cannot be able to build on it or develop or have any kind of development project on that land. We are not allowed to do that. The Israelis militarily control the West Bank, militarily control these areas. So you can imagine the situation that the Israelis occupation, they are giving permission to Israelis settlers to build and to grow in this land, and for Palestinians that they signed, the Israeli government, they signed that we need to negotiate on this piece of land to in the future to have a settlement with the Palestinians. They build on it. So it's a decision. It's a decision had been taken by the Israeli government not to go in the right direction to have peace with the Palestinians. By doing that, in addition to, I want to tell you also, in addition to the issue of the illegal separation wall, that everybody knows about the separation wall, and that a lot of even activists, human rights activists, a lot of in the international criminal court, other identities internationally and civil society and activists have been talking about this illegal existence of such wall or building.
I heard that there are some licenses for volumes of water or electricity.
I will come to this. I will come to this point. I'm talking about the West Bank. In addition to Gaza, we'll go back to Gaza. We are talking. I am trying to explain to your audience how much is the problem or the conflict with the occupation, it's huge. Huge. It has been for decades from different angles. The Palestinian people have the right to have a self-determination. They have the right to live. They have the right to live in dignity and in freedom. It is an obligation by the international law, according to the United Nations resolution, and related resolution had been taken from also the Council of the Human Rights Council, and in addition to the commitment that had been done by the European Union as a partner, as a partner for the Palestinian people in the when we started the peaceful process. But what happened now? That we are stuck. We are stuck because of what? Of the continuously and provokingly occupation, Israeli occupation, measurements and apartheid policies against the Palestinians. I'm not because I'm Palestinian, I can accuse Israel being apartheid. Actually, it has been said already from a lot of organizations around the world. What is happening in Palestine, or what's happening actually on the ground is an apartheid regime. Israel is apartheid regime against the Palestinian people in Gaza and in the West Bank, and including, of course, the East Jerusalem. There is a lot to be said here. Going back to the situation in Gaza, as I said, the hospital that had been bombed yesterday by the Israeli army, and I know now they're trying to put propaganda that no, it's had been accusing a Palestinian party to do, which is the unfortunately the classic scenario when it comes to Israel, and trying to manipulate and watering the situation. It happened the same when they have killed Shireen Abu Akleh. They also announced that it have been killed by Palestinian fire, and then with investigation that happened from several, organizations and NGOs, and it have been
come out
the truth that it is actually an Israeli fire. Until this moment, by the way, the Shireen Abu Akleh issue is not solved, and the soldiers that had killed Shireen Abu Akleh didn't till this moment have been put in front of the court and have their own punishment by the occupation, and this is the same scenario. So when now nobody has a logic kind of thinking. I'm not talking about even have a humanity. No, a logic kind of thinking can accept these lies anymore. What happening in Gaza is clearly a genocide. It is a genocide because it's wiping whole families, entire families now they are not exist anymore, attacking civilians in their homes, in their shelters, in schools, and it's a UN schools, and we have the tragedy of the hospital, which is completely a violation of international law. All what we are talking about is a violation of international law. We are not attacking or accusing Israel of something like outside of like our imagination. This is the international humanitarian law. Yes. This is what is said. You have obligation as an occupying power to protect the civilians. You cannot kill the civilians until Israel saying that I don't know, talking about also human shields and whatever for the other parts. No, it's not. It's not, because they know, they are well aware that the Gaza Strip itself have 2 million inhabitants, and all of them are civilians, and any military act gonna cause a lot of, killings of innocent people. And this is exactly what is happening. It happened before in 2014 and extra. Now, till this moment, I don't know, after we finish this, meeting, our conversation, I don't know how many people from my family, my friends, my people will be killed. Yeah. We are talking, as I told you now, about 700 to 900 children. And by the way, I want to tell you that something very important also for the audience to just to put in your mind that in this week, in 1 week, Israel has throw bombs on the Gaza Strip equally to a quarter of the amount of a quarter of a nuclear bomb. You can imagine that, okay? And they actually killed, because I have this, we have been looking to the numbers. Actually, the children had been killed so far, as I told you, it's much actually more than the Ukrainian children that had been killed in 1 year and a half. In 1 week, we are talking about 1 week. Yeah. We have 700 children, 700 to 900 children. We are still counting. We are still counting. So this is unjustified and shouldn't be accepted by the international law. And we are looking for all the international players in the region and outside of the region, especially the European Union. Slovakia was always a friend to the Palestinians, and we are looking that you can be able to put up pressure and to act, because this is the time to act. Yes, toward a peaceful solution and justice solution for the Palestinian people. It is there on the table. Our solution was on the table. It is on the table. It's not that complicated. It's not complicated. We have already the Arab Initiative for Peace. We have a lot of plans and related resolution need to be implemented. Need to say to the Israeli side, you need to start to implement this and to give the freedom to the Palestinians and recognize their self-determination, the right of self-determination for the Palestinian people, and recognize Palestine as a state. And we deserve to be treated equally. Yeah,
as you know, we have a new government here in Slovakia, and I think that the new government will make moves and steps to help your state. But sometimes I know that there is only one way information, because when something happened in Palestine, that we have information that bad Palestinian people are killing some Israeli, but before, always, Israeli people kill Palestinians. That's only the reaction. Then please explain us how, where is the beginning of this Palestinian Israeli? It was in 1948, or how it happened?
Yes. It happened, of course, after the Second World War. We have a partition plan decision taken by the General Assembly in 1947. It's the Resolution 181, which is create a big problem for the Palestinian population who was living in the historical Palestine at that moment, because at that moment, before this decision was taken, Palestine was under the mandate of the British government, and I cannot go back to the history, but I don't know if you have the time for that. But let us start from this.
Just
moment.
Few sentences.
Yeah,
this
moment, this moment of catastrophe for us. We call it in Nakba Day, which is, by the way, recognized by United Nations, and we have the United Nations has recognized International Solidarity Day with the Palestinian people on that day because the Israelis at that point announced the establishment of the state of Israel, and they have brutally also committed massacres at that point in the cities and the villages of Palestine.
And they divided the Palestine.
No, they actually, there are more than, they have displaced more than 700,000 Palestinian inhabitants. I'm talking about 1947 and 1948 and beyond. Yeah. So, but at that point, the war of 1948, actually, it was a war against people, against the Palestinian people, to displace them and to kick them out of their houses and their homes and their cities and their villages. An entire village was demolished. An entire village, and people had to flee from that because they were civilians and they were like farmers. They were from different kind of civil society components. But in the end, they faced such brutality from the Israelis' occupation at that time, and they moved them away from their villages and cities. And this is the start of the problem. And I'm through you, I'm calling also to raise the awareness among the Slovakia audience. Don't listen to me or to anybody else. I advise you to go to the history books. I advise you to go to the United Nations resources information. There is. I advise you to go to many trusted resources from the international organization around the world. You can go back to that and you can understand from where it started and where it is standing now. The problem, just to be briefly, continue till this moment, from let's say 1948 till this moment, because of the occupation still exists and functioning in the Palestinian occupied territories. They're still controlling the people, and till this moment they displaying people, and now we are witnessing this in Gaza Strip. You can imagine the Palestinian who is already a refugee, and it's like, by the way, a generation of refugees have been in Gaza, and now they're still again witnessing another displacement from their places, which is the only place that they can have. This is very tragic for my people.
And please explain me what is Hamas, and if I was listening about the situation, about the Hamas attack, I thought, the Israeli army is very strong. But the Hamas, not that many people. Then it was like self-killing action. No.
Well, I cannot speak on behalf of Hamas as well, but I'm talking. I cannot analyze the situation now on the ground. It's still we are in the process, so I cannot analyze this. But what can I say on this is, as I told you before, look to the big picture. The frustration that had been done because of the siege for 16 years, the calls that had been sent and the warning from the Palestinian leadership, Mr. Mahmoud Abbas have been sending this for more than 4 years now, and especially in his last statement and the before statement in the General Assembly, we have been sending warning repeatedly that this situation can be allowed to continue, because the explosion of the situation can happen anytime, and we need to act, and we ask the international community to act and put the pressure on the Israeli government to end the occupation in Palestine, and it is actually recognized by international. It's not a Palestinian talk. It is recognized by the international law that Israel considered as, or it is an occupying power to the land of the state of Palestine. So it is an occupation. and nobody can deny that, and international law recognize that. So they need to end their occupation. They need to get out, of our lands and cities, and instead of invasion, because in the West Bank and in Gaza and whatever, the Gaza under siege. Also in the West Bank, it's not better because it's also small sieges for the cities and villages, in addition to the things that I was talking about, and the killing. I want to tell you from the beginning of 2023 till October, we had almost more than 200 militants in the West Bank alone, including the East Jerusalem, where have been killed and assassinated by cold blood by the Israeli settlers and by the Israeli force. And this have been in the news. Who would just go back? I invite your audience just to go back in the news before, from the beginning of the year to now, and you will see in the news how the things are. Maybe the media, the local media in Europe doesn't convey this, but you can go to the international media and you can see that. You can go to Reuters, one of the trusted, and others. Yes. You can seek many different resources for your information, and the most trusted one is the United Nations.
But sometimes CNN maybe took brought the information about killing children by Hamas, and then denied it next day.
In this point, I can say, and it has been clearly said by the Palestinian leadership, that PLO, we said that we are refusing violence against all civilians. We are talking. As we said, we have choose the peaceful solution or the peaceful means to reach a solution to this conflict, and we are still committed to that. But with this situation, you need to encourage the two-state solution. This is your obligation as international community player in Slovakia. You need to step up, and you need to, if you want to have peace and security and stability in the Middle East, and to solve this conflict, it's not by talking, it's by action. You need to help your friends in the Middle East, in Palestine, in other countries, to have an end to this occupation, and to implement through steps toward implementing, the two-state solution. And it's not complicated. It's very clear. Yeah. We need to work on that. The Palestinian leadership already called for 2 years now. We are calling the international community to have an international peace conference for Palestine.
Okay.
All the international parties will be involved, and we can work together on ending this conflict. Yes. in political.
So that was my last question. Yes. How you see the future?
This is the future. Yeah. There is no other future. Yes. There is no other future, because
so international community have to make something.
Increasing violence against the civilians, taking unilateral measurements. Apartheid, policies, genocide against civilians, massacre after massacre is not gonna secure any peace or security for anyone. Violence feed violence. Yeah. Peace feed peace, and justice feed peace. Yeah, which is better. I think this is a better phrase. I want to maybe end up with it. Is justice feed peace. Yes. And this is what we need to work. And we ask you and ask all the Slovakia's friends to work with us on achieving this peace for the Palestinian people, and to have their own freedom and their own legitimate right of having their own state and with its capital is Jerusalem, because this is exactly what the international law have guaranteed us to have.
Oh, perfect. Okay, then hopefully this conflict of today will end it soon. I wish you luck.
Thank you very much
to all your people in Palestine.
Thank you.
And I think our new government will do the steps how to.
We are looking forward to work with the new government, and through you, I congratulate all the members who has of the parliament that had succeeded and had been elected, and of course we are willing to work with and we respect all the choices that had been done by the Slovakian people.
Okay, then thank you very much for visiting us and good luck again. Ďakujem veľmi pekne, milí televízni diváci, že ste si našli čas. Takže toto bol rozhovor so zástupkyňou Palestínskeho štátu, veľvyslankyňou na Slovensku, pani Kchaldí. Ďakujem veľmi pekne.
Thank you.